Hello, it's Doris with All Day Books. Happy Friday. So exciting, so exciting. So I'm just going to dive right into this so it won't be too long. I feel like I've been creating long videos lately. I'm trying to get caught up on my filming. One gets behind when one, just drops everything and photographs flowers for the entire month of March. But I think I traveled some too. But anyway, so Friday reads, but this is more of a March wrap up because I haven't not done that yet. I haven't reviewed any books I read in March outside of my book naturalist reviews of Spineless and Why Fish Don't Exist. So that is already posted if you have not watched it. No matter how long this is, I'm gonna attach the cat videos because it's been too long. I know you're going through withdrawals. So there's a little, I wouldn't call it a cat fight, but Pico was not impressed with the little girl from across the street coming into his territory. Okay, he was not impressed at all. And then there's just a random one of, our girls play fighting as they will, and maybe another random video of randomness. But anyway, back to the books. So 2 books that I read off my shelves were Nothing to Envy, Ordinary Lives in North Korea by Barbara Demick. I've had this on my shelves for quite some time because I got this several years ago. So every January I do a focus month. This year I took off from that, but last year I did Cuba, and this year I am taking off from it, I should say. We're just in March of this year. But last year I read Cuba. The year before was South Africa, and the year before that was Cuba/China. So this was from 3 years ago. And I didn't get to it that year because I just had too many books. And I think maybe it's been lingering on my shelves because I thought it would be a little dry. But holy cow, was it not. This was exactly what I expected and not at all what I expected. So it was very much about North Korea. But what it was kind of almost just oral interviews with several North Koreans who had defected either to China or eventually down to South Korea from all walks of life. So this is just very eye-opening, but just from an engrossing telling, because it's their own voices that you hear. So you hear all about what went on, but from the voices of the people who experienced it, just straight up their voices, and just really good and comprehensive and engaging. So I highly recommend that if you are interested in this topic. And then I also read In the Country of Women by Susan Straight. So Susan Straight is a white woman who married her childhood sweetheart, a black man, and had 3 biracial girls with him, and they amicably divorced and stayed in each other's lives. She had developed quite a relationship with his family, as well, obviously with her own. She has relationships, but I believe she was of Jewish descent on one side as well. But this is just a fascinating story of her, Swiss. Her family was Swiss, maybe also Jewish as well, though. Anyway, I wasn't sure at first because she's talking about her own life as a child, and then she starts writing each chapter about a different member of either her extended family or her ex-husband's mother, grandmothers, and things. And I wasn't sure if it was embedded enough or they were just like solitary um, mini biographies, if you will. But then she quickly brought in her own daughters. And so all of these stories of all of these amazing women are embedded or anchored in the lives of her daughters. And this just, I mean, can you imagine what a gift this is to these three girls, these three women now, to have this amazing family history of these amazing women in their heritage. I mean, just really great, really great, really great. So enjoyed that tremendously. And then the rest of the books are on ebook. So I'm just going to go with the quickest ones first. So I read with Heidi from My Reading Life, and Katie as well, we read Lisa Kleypas' Dreaming of You and Then Came You. These are Regency romances, and they're earlier ones in Lisa Kleypas' writing career. So not her best work, but still thoroughly enjoyable. I really don't have anything to say about them. Regency romance, enjoyed it. And then I read 4,000 Weeks Time Management for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman. This is a really short book on audio. It's like 4 or 6 hours. And the title's a little bit deceptive because it's kind of not really a planner, time management, get it all done kind of book. It's kind of the opposite. So I listened to this on audiobook, and it was just the kind of book that was exactly what I needed when I needed it. I listened to it and my mind would wander and think about my life. So I can't really tell you a lot about it, but I can tell you that I immediately quit tracking like 90% of anything I was tracking. And I'm living in the moment, which is perfect for me right now. And I also immediately, there's a waiting list for this book. So it's really super duper popular right now. I waited quite a while for the audiobook. And as soon as I finished the audiobook, I put the ebook on hold and just started reading it again a couple days ago. Yes, I just read this book and I'm already rereading it the next month. Like I read it in March and I'm rereading it again. It's super short. But I just wanted to read it physically, eyeballs, and maybe write down some quotes of my favorite thoughts. So hopefully in a week or two, I'll be able to tell you more about it. But if you're into this kind of thing, I wouldn't call it self-help really. It's kind of, philosophy of life kind of thing. But yeah, if this at all interests you, look it up and see what you think. And maybe I'll have more to say soonish. Let's see. What else is there in here? Okay, 2 more. So Zero Fail, The Rise and Fall of the Secret Service by Carol Leonig. I read this with my history buddy readers. So Heidi from My Reading Life and Karen from Run Right Reads and Patrice Jones. And we had a lot to talk about. So much to talk about with this book. Oh my goodness. So this is exactly what it says. Well, not exactly what it says. This is the history of the Secret Service. So she starts with Lincoln. Maybe, I don't know if there's anybody before Lincoln, but she kind of hits, I don't think the highlights is the right thing to say, the lowlights. She focuses on the negatives, okay, of the Secret Service. So at first I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, because she openly admits it in the beginning that a lot of these things are things that were told to her anonymously. So wasn't sure how I felt about that. But then as I was reading it, a lot of it is historical information. So there really isn't that much that's told to her anonymously. So I feel like there was solid evidence for the majority of the book. So I was okay with that. And then the other point is that she is very biased. And by that, I mean that she's got a point that she's trying to make, and that is the rise and fall of the Secret Service. Basically, that the Secret Service is going down the toilet and something needs to be done about it. So she does focus on the negatives, and I feel like it can't be all negative. Like, there are good people in this world. They're just not a lot of them brought to light in this book. So I think there are good guys in the Secret Service, but this book didn't make me very happy with the Secret Service, and I'm going to be honest, men in general. Yeah, a lot of egos and a lot of thinking with what's in your pants. Sorry, but you know, wow, really? And alcoholism and partying on the job, even, like, really? So, like, there was no Jimmy Carter in this book, very little Gerald Ford, but let me just tell you, the Bill Clinton chapter, I was thoroughly disgusted and just not at all happy. Eyes opened. Then Obama's years, Lord love him, bless his heart, like the things that he had to deal with from being the first black president and the threats on his life, to the absolute asinine behavior of his Secret Service, like the stupid things that went on. Like, it's not Obama, it's these men that, like, their behavior was poor, very, very poor. And then the Trump years, infuriated, just the economics of that situation and the hypocrisy that went on economically, pointing fingers at Obama, and then, you know, Trump, like, the hypocrisy, but the economic impact, like, So we had a lot to say. There were a lot of, like, fiery discussions about this book. And, you know, then Patrice, like, messages us just, like, 2 days ago, and, like, there's another controversy in the Secret Service going on right now. So, like, I've said like a lot here, but let me move on. This was really good book. A lot of eye-opening disgust and infuriation with that. Okay, so, and then early on in March, I read The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. I read this with Heidi from My Reading Life. I had just been seeing this on and off for a year or so, and just, my curiosity was piqued with this one, very much so. And finally, like, I think Heidi was in the same boat, so we were like, you know what, let's go ahead and read that together. And we did. This is a great buddy read. I will say, definitely a great buddy read. This is billed as horror. Let me see if it's got a, yes, thrilling, literate, scary, immersive. That's what Stephen King had to say about it. So this is a book, Own Voices, Native American Perspective. I really like that Stephen Graham Jones looked at his own social group, like he put the lens on his own group and outward towards society. Really good perspectives in this book. The man writes women so well. There were at least 5 really just likable, strong women in this book. I'm so impressed with his writing of women. This is a horror story looking at 4 young men when in their teen years. They kind of go against their heritage and teaching and do something really bad. They just kind of get caught up in the moment, the way I think that you can as a teenager. And it has repercussions that just echo. So then you look at their lives individually, and I don't really want to say too much more than that. There is a lot of graphic violence, especially in regards to animals. So that's really hard to deal with. There is also magical realism, but that is couched in Native American folklore, so it really fits into the storyline. There's really good mind games where you're not sure if it's going to be an actual mind game or an actual spirit or what the heck, you know? So he does a really good job with that. The thing that really pulled me in is the literary aspect. This is very much literary fiction. So a lot to unpack. I wasn't sure the first 100 pages if I was enjoying it. I wasn't sure the direction it was going. And if it had gone in this direction, I think I wouldn't have liked it. But it went deep. It went deep and wide open. And it just really made me think. It really made me think. He says a lot about, you know, obviously the Native American story in modern times. He talks a lot about society and this endless infighting that we all have with each other, and how at some point it just has to end or it won't end well. We've got to come together and be supportive. He says that, like, I got that out of this book. Someone has to be the one to end it. Someone has to do that. The ending, Heidi and I both found extremely satisfying. So again, it is very graphic. Animal abuse abounds, but it's very purposeful in the storyline and really good. I wasn't sure, but ended up, I would read it again. It was very thought-provoking. So where I am now is I am currently reading Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. 100 pages to go. So hoping to stick with the Friday reads this month and stay on top of things. So hopefully I'll be updating you on that next Friday. Kate Howe, and a couple other women. We are reading Robin Hobb, The Assassin's Apprentice. I read this 3 or 4 years ago, but never continue with the series. So I'm just starting it again. More to come on that. My BookTube prize reading, I've already finished 4. I'm waiting for the other 2 to come available from my library. So the Robin Hobb is my audiobook. So I don't know if I'll work on that this weekend, but who knows? When I finish this, I don't know what I'm going to pick up. Fun times ahead. Okay, cat fights are next, and then I'll be back soon, like tomorrow, because I got a lot of videos to catch up on. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye.